Episode 27. What yarn diet? Hello and welcome to the Pink Hair Girl podcast. My name is Sally Jane and it's really great to be with you again today. Today is the 15th of February. Hope you're all well and that you've had a great week. Ours hasn't been bad at all, just the usual, really not that much exciting stuff going on. The only thing is, those that are on Instagram might have seen that one of my chickens died. On Friday night, I drop the children at Cubs. They both do Cubs. So I drop them off, and then Titus and Emma normally go and visit his mom. Then I come home and start doing the supper. So I was expecting load shedding, and so I just made a simple, non-cooked supper. Salady stuff, got that already, cut that all up, and then I thought, oh, I've got a few minutes to watch podcasts. I can sit down and do some knitting and quickly. And I sat down on the couch, and suddenly I just got out to feed the chickens. I mean, they get their regular laying pellets, and then if we've got any extra vegetable leftovers, like vegetable peelings or kind of stuff that you might put on your compost heap, but it mustn't be rotten. When you give it to chickens, it's be the same that you can eat. So like anything you've been in the kitchen with that day, your outer lettuce leaves, or your tomato looks a bit squishy, or whatever like that, you can give that to your chickens as well. Mix up their diet a little bit. So I'd just taken food out for them, and I suddenly hear this like flapping and squawking. And I put down my knitting, and the time it took me to put down my knitting and walk outside to the chicken coop, one of the chickens, the little red one, so not the one that was sick last time that I nursed back to, but the one in the episode called Stupid Chicken, where I show her at the end and she's really noisy. She is by far the noisiest of all the chickens. She's lying face down dead. I mean, literally in the couple of seconds it took me to put my knitting down and walk outside. And now they're in a closed off area, and my dogs weren't in there. And when I took the food out, she was fine. And I don't know what happened. There was some blood around her. So the one thing is that one of the other chickens might have attacked her, which is unlikely. I mean, they've all been together for the last 2-3 years. And I mean, there are only 3 of them, and she's quite high up in the pecking order. She's the noisy one that lets you know what's going on. So I can't think that it was that, and it was quick. I mean, if they peck at each other, it's like a long-term bullying sort of thing. Then you find like peck wounds on them and stuff. It's not. Anyway, I'm a little bit squeamish, so I wasn't gonna pick her up, and once I established she was dead, I mean, by the time I got there was no breathing, no movement, just face down with her legs like out behind her, like this almost, and her eyes were closed and there was no breathing or anything. And I don't know what did it. I really don't know. I mean, a couple of options. One, it could have been a cat, and I didn't see a cat. I mean, a cat would have had a little bit of a distance to run to get out of there. It could have been a snake, but there was a bit much blood, I think, for a snake, and chickens eat snakes, so I don't think it was a snake. The only thing that made me consider that was how quickly she died, that if it was maybe something venomous. And the other option is a bird of prey, and I didn't think, I mean, they normally go for smaller chicks, like I didn't think they'd go for a full-grown chicken. We do have hawks and crows and various other birds of prey around here. Because we live further out on the sort of outskirts of the city, there's quite a lot of open land around us, and so we do get quite a lot of birds of prey, but they're normally smaller, like kites, and I'm not very good at knowing what all the raptors are, but they're not huge. I mean, look, there are 2 very big fish eagles. There's a sort of as you drive into the little town where I am, where I take Titus to school, there's a little I don't want to call it a pond. It's not really a pond. It's not quite a lake either. Something between a pond, which sounds like really tiny, and a lake, which sounds really massive. Like a medium-sized body of water. So there's a pair of, a mating pair of two big fish eagles there. But I mean, they stay around the water there. Fish eagles don't come, you're not going to come pick up chickens in my backyard. And I really don't know. So literally, she was fine. I took out the food, flapping, get out there, dead. No, I feel bad when you've got animals in your care. You feel bad when something happens to them. Anyway, so that was it. Then I was here alone, and now I've got, the chickens are cornered off in their bed. And chickens are terrible in one way. They're quite cannibalistic. So if one is dead and there's blood around, the others will go and peck at it. So I'm embarrassed to say I was too squeamish to pick her up. I'm a nurse, people. I am a nurse by training, which is another story. I really shouldn't be a nurse because my dad's a doctor and I used to help him out in his consulting rooms. He was a GP. And I remember going in the one Sunday and helping him stitch up somebody's thumb. And I think I was like in my second last year of school or my last year of school. And I fainted watching him stitch up this person's thumb. You would think that might have been a clue that nursing might not have been the best career for me. Needless to say, I survived my nursing training and I quickly went into being a tutor and a kind of a nurse consultant. I did palliative care, helping out with symptom control and stuff. So I'm not very good with the actual blood and guts bit of things. I want to be, you know. And look, in a crisis order, if I have to be, I'm there. I'll manage. But I'm not the best. I'm not the best nurse material, really. I really should have studied something else. You know, I've said this before. I really should have studied something with, I don't know, maybe like textiles or I'm not going to do general fact. You think now, what would have been useful to study if you were going to do knitting now? It should be like a degree in knitting. Anyway, whatever. So I should say marketing because I'm terrible at marketing. I kind of do my patterns and my books and stuff and I put it out there and, you know, have done a few podcast reviews and things like that. And then I don't know what to do beyond that. It kind of ends after that. So, yeah. Anyway, beside the point. My little red chicken. Get back to the actual point here. It's totally sidetracked my nursing story. So, I covered her with a towel, trying to keep the other chickens away from her. But if I open up the chicken coop to let them out into the garden so they can't get to her, then Pippin, the dog, chases the chickens, which is at first I thought maybe it was him, but it wasn't. He wasn't in the coop area when I found her, so it couldn't have been him. Excuse me. So now I'm expecting a delivery. There was a courier that was supposed to come. So I'm trying to hear the front door. I'm trying to stand outside to prevent, and I don't know why, I just had the sense that she was dead already. But I just have this, yeah, I just didn't want the other chickens pecking at her. I couldn't pick her up. And so I'm like chasing the other chickens away from her, while I'm going in, trying to keep the dog from going in, also trying to be close enough to the front door so I can hear the front door ring. So that was my excitement of the week, all in on the few minutes of Friday afternoon. And that's about all. So let's swiftly move into what I'm knitting and what I'm finished and all the yarny stuff. I've only finished one thing, which is a hat for Rachel's own charity, a knit along thingy. So I'm not gonna have a whole separate section for that. I'm just gonna briefly talk about it here. My daughter Rachel, for those of you who are new, is doing a project for the Red Cross Children's Hospital's Burns unit. All the information, it's a knit along. We're collecting hats and washcloths, and some people have very generously donated money so we can make up the toiletry packs for the mothers. All the information is there's a blog post on my blog about it. There is a thread in the group about it, and the last 2 podcasts before this both have information on them. And now I can't remember what number we're on, so I can't remember what the 2 are before this. Anyway, the 2 podcasts before this will have all the information of what the project is, why she's doing it, and all about my visit to the Red Cross Children's Hospital. So anyway, I finished a hat. And those of you that are on Instagram will have seen it. Rachel was modeling it for me. And I've seen on a couple of other podcasts, people have been knitting hats or said they're going to, and washcloths, and been so generous. So thank you so, so much. We appreciate everything. And I will show you, all the packs we get, everything we do as we go along. And I'm just absolutely thrilled. So thank you very much. So that's my finished object. And I showed you the little washcloth last time. So those are the 2 things I've done for that. Hopefully, when the children get back from swimming, I'll be able to grab them because they don't have life-saving today. I will be able to grab them and they can show you what they've been doing. Works in progress. Right. So, what have I been knitting on? The last week, I remember saying that I felt a bit sort of all over the place with my knitting, and like I wasn't knitting on one thing or getting anywhere or whatever the case was. And what I narrowed it down to was this feeling with my sock yarn blanket that I needed to do one every day. And I mean, I know I was doing the Heidi Bears 1 a day challenge, but it's supposed to be my project that doesn't have a deadline. I'm just doing it through the year. There's no, I don't have to have it finished for anything specific or anything. So I'm like imposing this ridiculous daily deadline on myself, and it was actually making it unpleasant. So I was imposing this sort of daily deadline on myself, and every day it sort of felt like I need to get that square done, and if I was 1 behind, then I had to do 2, and then anyway. So I finished my 7 for last week. On Wednesday, I finished what I should have had finished on Sunday, and then it was like, well, suddenly I then have to catch up 7 by today, and So there are the ones I finished. It is one of the ones that Susie gave me. So, and I think this one as well. Anyway, so it's it's a completed rectangle at the moment. So now I'll go out and add another side to it. And I love this project, and I don't want it to become a stressful project. That's just silly. So I just decided I wasn't going to do one a day. I was going to do one when I feel like it. And if I don't work on it all week, and then someday I put 5 in a row, then so be it. And I felt much better after that. I just kind of calmed down, and yeah, so I didn't work anymore after Wednesday, and I actually feel so much better. I just don't need to impose a deadline sort of knitting on something that doesn't have a deadline. Other things you want to finish on time for certain things, and that's fine, but this one really doesn't need a deadline. So I just kind of got rid of that whole business and I felt much better. So then what did I knit on? I knitted on my top that I'd like to get done for the Geek and I. Oh, I've lost my little elf from here. I have to find where she fell off. I don't know. I have to go look on my knitting couch. So this is the lace weight top that I'm working on. I don't think I did too badly for this week. I can't remember where it was. My little markers don't mark where I was before. It marks my daily progress, because knitting lace weight, I find that it feels like you're getting nowhere. So if you put a little marker in, my little marker over there, then I can see, how far I've knitted in that sort of day. And it was mostly 2 days. I think I had another one. It must have been down here, and I knitted quite a lot the one day, and then anyway, I can't remember exactly where it was, but that's my little top. It's a little rolled. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep it as a rolled hem or if I'm going to fold it over. So I'm trying to finish this by the 23rd, because that's our wedding anniversary. Don't know if that's going to happen, but that's that. And this is in my Anne's work basket bag with no little owl. I'll try and find the owl for next time. And then the other thing I've been knitting on is my socks. And I remember telling you that I was going to do 2 at a time on separate needles because I couldn't remember what I was doing half the time. And that must sound silly. If you cast on a toe and increase to a set number of stitches, knit a set distance to the heel, put the heel in, and then pick up your stitches and knit again, which is what most people do. But I have very, very high arches, but narrow feet. So I need to cast on and increase to 64 stitches. Otherwise, it doesn't fit around the first part of my foot. But then I need to increase a lot over my heel because I have such a high arch. And I always used to increase to the 72 stitches, but it still pulls. And I don't know why I didn't think just increase a bit more. I think because the not many patterns go above 72 stitches. And somehow knitting like 80 stitches for your heel just sounded like so enormous, you know. And I thought, I don't have wide feet, but I have a very high arch. So I just had to make peace with the fact that I probably need at least 80 stitches over the heel. And I read an article on Knitty, I think it was, blog post, about doing, I used to kind of stagger my increases up the side, about doing, if you do have a high arch and need more stitches there, to do all your increases in the last inch before you put your heel in, and to do them on alternative rows. So that's what I did. In the last bit, I actually put in most of the increases. So it kind of, if I show you on this side, it kind of goes up there, which you can see actually. So from there to there, that goes up quite a bit in the increase. And then you put the heel in, and then after you've joined in the round again for the heel, you decrease quite a lot. So I don't know if you can see, that makes a little mountain there. So I did it at the same time. You know, I knitted the foot length to the same place, counted all the rows, and then I did all the increases at exactly the same place, and then did the heels. So I did them kind of concurrently on 2 different needles, and it worked really well. You know, I think when you are increasing and putting in all those extra stitches and stuff, it is nice to keep track of doing them exactly the same and at the same time. So do you feel like you are going to get 2 socks that are the same? There are too many little things that you can do differently when you changing your sock like that, that if you do a couple of rows in a different place or whatever, it just makes your socks feel different. So yeah, I enjoyed knitting them at the same time. And I know if I knitted one at a time, I'd probably have a hoe. But anyway, I'm going to have a finished object next week. You know, they'll both be finished. I've only got the legs to go. And they decrease down to the right number of stitches now. So I can just knit. So I'll probably knit the one leg finished and then finish the other leg, because there's nothing I need to make sure. And besides, they're the same length, but that's okay. The yarn is the one that Sally organized for us for our Valentine's. You know, we're knitting a theme every month, and Sally did February. It's got a bit of twinkle. I don't know if you can see the twinkle in there. So I know that depends on the light. You can see a little bit on the side here. This is from Electric Carnation, and it was Valentine's 2015, and I really like the black. I really like that sort of slightly more sort of goth undertone to it. And talking of goth, I'm actually going to enter these in the FO and Die sock along. She's called Goth Heart on Ravelry, which made me think of that. And they've got a FO and Die have a husband and wife podcast that I quite enjoy watching with Ellie and Dave. So I'm going to enter those into that. So those are my Valentine's socks. Oh, I don't think I told you what the heel was that I did. I did an OMG heel, which is really good for self-striping yarn. I think I need to get that sock architecture book or something like that to have a bit more research on a few different kinds of heels. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so I had knit past the point. I said I was going to that sort of Dave's gusset, you know, one for toe up, but I had actually knit past the point. By the time I got to thinking, oh, let me measure and see how far I am and maybe do that, I had knitted past that point, because you need to leave 5 inches before you put your heel in, before you start that, and then you go out with the gusset, and then you do. And also, I thought adding a lot of stitches like that would change the pattern because it's self-striping. So I went with the OMG heel, which puts all your stitches in one row, and then you decrease it down, whatever. So yeah, OMG heel, and I like that it's got the slip stitch thing there. I think that does add some extra strength across the back of your heel. And I think I have tried them on. I do think it fits better across my arch than only going to 72 stitches. So I'm chuffed with these, and I have them in 2 separate bags so they don't get tangled. And well, I've got a little bag, and then I put them inside the one that Sally gave me for our February socks. So those of you who haven't seen it, this part does a drawstring up, pop it in, and then it stands up like that. And I can't remember if I mentioned last time, but I am making a bag. I'm not wimping out. I'm making a Notions pouch for March. I have made us bags. I just need to finish the one thing for the top. I'm nearly done. So yeah, and I have the yarn all ready for March, which obviously I can't show you that now. And so yeah, that's it. That's what I've done. The socks for February are nearly done. The top I'm working on. I did 4 squares on the log cabin, and then I just put it away, and I felt so much better after that. And I do feel relieved. I don't need to knit on only one thing because I do get bored, and I like different tensions. Oh, sorry, my eyes itch. I like different tensions. I like the tighter tension of socks, and then to go and knit something like the lace top, which is on a much looser tension. And I haven't felt like that's been knitting too many things in the week. It's just taken the pressure away of doing, you know, that the everyday has helped a lot. So yeah, feeling happy this week with my knitting. Oh, I did the log cabin. I bought some yarn, which I'll show you in acquisitions, but I found something that would do, which I'll talk more about later, and you'll see I added a pink. I actually took out some of what I've done. This needle's far too short, but Caleb's got my other needles. I got some other yarn, and I put some pink in here, and I thought the other colors were just too sort of blended. Which is funny because the natural needler was talking about how she thought hers was all too random. You know, all she just had like a whole lot of different colors, and she thought they should be more kind of coordinated or more sort of on the same color palette. And yeah, I was moaning that mine were all too similar. So anyway, I put some pink in, and I picked up again to put the green on the top. And I'll show you the colors I got to add and talk a bit more about that later. So that's works in progress. The kids are back from their swimming, and they wanted to show you what they'd been working on this week. You're going to go first. What did you make?
A hat for the Burns unit.
A hat for the Burns. Just put it in the camera because my voice people can actually see. There we go. So we did a rib, and then we did a plain hat and some decreases. Oh, so it's very. How long did that take you?
About 2 days.
2 days. Yes, you were very quick, weren't you? And what are you knitting now?
A washcloth. Let me go get it.
Go get your washcloth quickly. Right, and what are you knitting?
I'm just going to a hat.
You're knitting a hat.
With the thinnest yarn ever, because it's every.
No, it's a double knit.
I've done so many rows, and it just doesn't build up.
So it's a similar yarn to the one that I knit the little hat, this little hat from. It's just a different colorway. So she's
And here was the yarn that Caleb knitted.
Yeah,
out.
Caleb's is a bit thicker than yours.
Caleb's one is 5 times.
And what else are you doing?
Tangled up washcloth. Here it is. I just need a fit. I ripped it out. I ripped out almost the whole thing, so I was feeling a bit cross with it, so I've stopped.
Okay, but that's looking fine. You just got where's your? You're losing it a bit here. Where's your hook?
Yeah.
Just
Mom.
So you're nearly done because you just need to make a square. So you just need to finish that.
I can show
So
them
there's your.
and what it would look like. I can then.
Yeah.
It'll
So
probably
you-
look like my washcloth over here.
Oh yes, we haven't showed your washcloth before. You knitted this one this way around, didn't you? With increasing from the bottom up.
There's
It's been used now, so it's a little bit wonky. And where's the one you're knitting now?
I can't find it.
You lost your knitting?
It's in your
Oh
hand.
no.
It's in your handbag.
It's in my handbag.
Yeah.
Oh, go look in my handbag then. Right, so what else are you making, Rachel? Because you haven't been focusing only on your charity knitting, have you? What did you watch with Mommy this week?
The Bakery Bears podcast with Mommy.
And what did you see?
I saw the Granny Square Scrappy Blanket.
And what happened?
Started doing one.
So here's Rachel's Granny Square Scrappy Blanket. So she is using the leftovers. This is, you'll recognize, it's also the one from
And that's
Susie, and that's the one from my
socks.
Socks that I think I got that in a swap, didn't I? Those oranges.
Mhm.
And we watched the tutorial that Kay's got on the end of, I think it was episode 17 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so she's actually started putting them together. Have you made any more so far?
Yeah, these two.
She made these two as well.
I made 4 and then I had to stop myself making the other one because I told myself 4
This
a week.
one looks a lot smaller than this one. Why is this one?
It's much thinner, yarn.
Maybe just use a bigger hook on this one to keep them more or less the same size.
But
For other people that are doing the scrappy blanket, the crochet one, are you changing your hook size depending on the yarn weight? Because this yarn weight, it's the same brand. Isn't this the same? No, not quite. Because that one's come out quite a bit smaller there. You can see.
when I crochet it together, it won't really matter.
You think so? Maybe it does. Okay, never mind, my boy. Anyway, he's knitting another green, that sugars and cream cotton, washcloth cotton. So he's knitting another green one like that. He's just not doing it. He's not doing it increasing and then decreasing. He's just cast on the end, and he's just going to knit up. Yes. Is that the one you're going to do next?
This is the next yarn I'm going to do tomorrow because I've stopped myself from doing another one. This one, I think Sally used it to make a pair of socks.
She did, yes. Right, so are you enjoying the granny blanket?
Yes, it's addictive.
A little bit addictive.
Because I have a big bag of all pretty things. I don't get out. I could finish it in a week.
I don't know if you can quite finish 300 in a week. Although you don't need to make yours quite 300. But you need to finish your washcloth for the charity, and you need to finish your hat. Please say thank you very much to everybody that's been making and donating things for your charity.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
It's been very kind. And an enormous thank you to Knitting Julian with No Eye Knitting from Germany, who has a new podcast. I think he's on to his fourth episode. And he did a little shout out for Titus, and Titus says thank you now. Are you going to say thank you to Knitting Julian?
Thank you.
Did he say your name on the podcast? Huh? And what did he say you must do?
Knit?
You must knit. Are you going to learn to knit?
Because I'm by myself.
Not by yourself. Mommy will help you, yes. So, and, was you shooting? So were you on a podcast, my boy?
Yeah.
Was it fun? So thank you.
Thank you.
Here's such fun. Wait, bye. I'm sure that you're not supposed to have an acquisition section when you are on a yarn diet. So this is all like Sally showing stuff and justifying why she has everything. But hopefully you will understand why there was the need to have various things. Why logically it all makes sense. That's all that matters. But first of all, the first thing is just fun. I got some mini skeins from Yonder Woman, Melinda. And I've stuck the note. She's labelled them all. Let me show you on a lighter one so you can see. So it's got a number on it. They're sort of wrapped around bookmarks, which I think is really cute. So they're wrapped around the bookmarks with a number, and then on the little letter that she wrote, each number is listed, and then she tells you what the different yarns are. And I stuck that in my book already, and I forgot to bring that. So aren't these nice? So I love this one. She said she thought I would like this one. It's really like a fiery orangey red color. How fun is that? Yes, so I'm delighted with these. Thank you so much, Melinda. Now, she's doing her sock yarn blanket in grey and red, black, and I think purple as well. I think those are sort of her colors, reds and blacks and purples. And I don't have very many, leftovers or mini skeins in those colors. So I'm collecting. And then when I have enough to send her, then I can send her some in her kind of color palette. So yeah, I'm dead chuffed with these. Thank you very much. That was really kind of you to send them. And she just put them in an envelope, like a flat envelope, and they just came through in the letter mail. So it was great. Thank you really very much. I'm most touched with that. Thank you. That's my first podcast gift from overseas. So really, that was very nice. Thank you. Then I saw a note on a yarn shop that was closing down. And so I was looking for some specific sock wool to dye, actually. And I asked if they had, and then they did. So I naturally went to go and buy that, and then saw a few other things. So first of all, what did I actually go for? I went for this L sock wool. This is the same yarn that Rachel knitted my mom's hat in, that kind of greeny colored one, and it is 80% pure new wool and 20% nylon. So it's a good 80-20. It's soft, it knits up really nicely, and I've seen some other people did this for playing around with yarn dyeing. And one of the reasons I haven't really played around a lot with dyeing before is because by the time you've bought, especially here in South Africa, there are very few places you can buy undyed skeins, and they're normally quite expensive. They're not that much cheaper than people will sell it as a natural, and it's not that much cheaper than those with dye on them. And then it gets a bit expensive to play around, and I'm not going to be very good at dyeing, so why would I pay almost the same price and then mess it up? So I haven't really wanted to play around that much, because really I'm not going to be very good at it at the beginning. And the over dyeing was fun, because that was I was just over dyeing it, and I was doing a semi-solid color, and there was no pressure because it was inexpensive to buy in the first place. So she was selling these on sale for, or to get rid of them, for 20 Rand, which is less than $2. So it was like less than $4 will make me a pair of socks. And that's in my mind cheap enough for me to play around with adding dye to them. So I wanted to dye something for my swap partner in the South African swap group. So I needed 2 for that, because they're 50-gram balls. You only get 50 grams in a ball. So you need 2. So I wanted to dye something for my swap partner. So I needed 2 for that. And then I'm going to do, there are a few bags of these. I'm going to do Sally and I'm going to see how good I am because you'll be responsible for doing the socks throughout the year. We've each got some of the months. I've got July, which is winter. So I thought to use 4 of them for winter, because that's for Sally and I. There's 2 that I want to do for another gift. 2 for my swap partner. Another friend of mine wanted a couple. And Rachel's now edging her crochet blanket with this cream color, so that uses up some of them. And then I wanted to give the kids some to play with for dyeing, because every time I dye yarn, they want to play as well. And yarn's expensive usually. So this is great. I can give them each, they can knit their socks out of 1 ball of yarn, because they're still small with, small feet. So I can give them some yarn to play around with, which is really fun actually, because they both enjoy either knitting or crocheting or whatever. It'd be really fun to let them play with their own skeins to dye. So I got 2 packets of those, and there were 3 extras. I think it was 23 in total. That's what I went for. Then what did I see? So then I had to. So with the fact that I couldn't find anywhere that had the yarn that's discontinued for my log cabin, I was sort of on the lookout for something else. And they had this, which is a merino, and it's also 100% new wool. It's not exactly the same spin as the L Pure New Wool that I was using for the log cabin. And it is 50 grams at 160 meters. So this one is a bit thinner than what I've got, but I held it double. And then it actually worked really well. This was only 10 Rand a ball. So less than $1. Like, I can't get the other wool. I'm not probably going to get exactly the same thickness. And I thought if I held this double, it is slightly thicker double, but it's not that bad. So I got 2 browns and 2 pinks. I've already put the pink in like you saw. So 2 browns, 2 pinks, 2 navy blue. I'd like to, I might have to find another yarn that's got some, I'd like to add a light blue and a grey as well. And this sort of corally peachy color. So I got those, 2 of each of those. And then I got a bag of this color for the edging, because I think that this sort of naturally stony, it's not beige, yeah, it's kind of a stone, isn't it? Light brown will be quite nice for the edge of the blanket. I think it'll be the right sort of color. It will lighten it up a little bit. So I got 2 packets of that for the edging, and I'm actually quite chuffed. I like the addition of the other colors. As I said, I'd like to get some light blue and some gray maybe, and then I think I'll have quite a good range of maybe a light purple as well. I've got a bit of a darker purple I dyed, and then I don't mind maybe buying those from a, you know, just a DK from an indie dyer, or see what we've got. There's not a lot in South Africa of just wool, you know, pure wool. There's very little pure wool actually in a wool shop, you know, off the shelf kind of thing. There's no real brand name workhorse pure wool that you can just buy. The owl that I was looking for is the discontinued one. There's quite a few blends, there's a lot of acrylic, but just a DK in a bog standard wool base there isn't a lot of. So then I'd have to substitute with something from an indie dye, which is fine, but I couldn't do the whole blanket and it would just be too expensive. I can't afford that many balls of yarn in different colors from an indie dye. It would just be way too much. So then if I just substitute a couple in those kind of lighter blues and stuff, then it will be fine. So anyway, there's the pink. I like those other colors and the edging color. So although I did buy quite a lot of that at 10 Rand a ball, and I can finish the blanket, and I wanted to do it now, I kind of thought it was win-win. I'm not going to find the discontinued yarn. There was no else that had that. So I thought I would just buy that while I could. I mean, they're closing down, so that's good. And then the other thing I bought was I let the kids each choose. They had some opal sock yarn at 45 Rand a ball, which is about half what it normally, I think it's normally about 90 Rand. And it was 45, which is just about $4. So there were some different colors of opal, and I let the kids each choose some, and I got, that's in their stash actually. So it doesn't count as my stash because Rachel and Caleb have their own stash. So I think Rachel got one like this, and there's a greeny turquoisey one that Caleb got, so I didn't bring that with me. I only took out what was from my stash. This is for Titus, the oranges, because Titus loves orange like me. His favorite colors are orange and dark blue. Not blue, orange and dark blue. Those are Titus's favorite colors. So anyway, this doesn't have dark blue in it, but it's got purple, and he'll like that. And then that's just for the geek. That's some socks for him. So that was the sock yarn I got, which I thought, you know, I thought it's a fancy sock yarn, but for, you know, the kids, and the geek also wants to have work socks that are a bit more robust, you know, and opal's a good strong sock yarn. So I got those, and then I didn't have very much acrylic in my stash to make hats for the charity, and you can see I made this one. I bought this one as well, and then I bought a couple of other colors in a similar, the same brand, which is this Bravo crazy color, and these were also reduced. So this is a brown and navy and white and a bit of sort of black, it looks like. So that's quite nice. And then this one is sort of some yellow, green, purple. Rachel's actually knitting with this, so I think we bought 2 in this color. Is this the same color? Oh no, it's not exactly. But it was, no, it's not exactly the same one she's using. Anyway, so these are 4 hats. And I bought some chunkier yarn for Caleb to knit a hat. He's finished this already. I'm not going to show you his hat. He can show you his hat in a minute. And this is a Sportic, which was 70% acrylic and 30% wool. And I thought that 30% will be fine. It'll add warmth, and it's not going to felt a hat. So it was machine washable, so you know the washing instructions look fun. So Caleb knit a little hat out of this, and I've got enough to make another one as well. So I needed to buy wool for the charity thing anyway, and that was all I bought from there, and that's what I got from that. And then I can't show you this over here because this is our March socks. Oh, but what I can show you, not, well, I can't show you because I can't see that. I asked Em of Electric Carnation to do our, she did March for us, which is St. Patrick's Day. And then I asked if she would do March and May. I've got May again. And if she would do a surprise. I just said it's autumn, do whatever you like. Surprise us. But that she must put it into bags. And we can't see. So this is like double bagged. I can't see anything there. It's just called Autumn Surprise. And there are two. So I get to give one to Sally and I keep one. And these are for May. And I don't know what's in them. So we'll both open out on the podcast. On our, you know, on the individual podcast just before May, and then we'll be able to show you what they are. So I don't even know what those are. Another acquisition that I got this week has absolutely nothing to do with knitting whatsoever. But remember when I spoke about the chicken that I said I was waiting for a courier? It was actually from a like a marketing, you know, company that contacted me, I suppose, because I blog and Instagram and that sort of thing. And they said, could they have my address for a surprise delivery? And I didn't know what it was, you see. So on Friday night, this little box arrives and it says Love in the Dark, and it was all about Sir Valentine's. At first I sort of thought I should have seen the brand. I mean, obviously the colors and the logo and things give it away, but at first I thought Love in the Dark, and it comes in a box and it's for Valentine's Day. And then I was a bit worried about opening it at the dinner table with the children in case it was something, you know, not totally PG. Anyway, I open it up and I find a thing that says Love in the Dark, rekindle your love this Valentine's Day from Marmite. So I put this picture up on Instagram and asked a few people, you know, what they thought it was before I opened it up. And I mean, the colouring and all the rest sort of gives it away. I know that James from the Dancing Geek podcast thought it was maybe Vegemite, you know, because being South, you know, Australia, New Zealand, everyone have Vegemite. But South Africa's firmly in the Marmite camp. I think you can get Vegemite here. I think. South Africans, can we get Vegemite here? I don't actually know. I know you can get it in England in the specialist shops and stuff because, you know, there are a lot of Australians there. Anyway, so we're in the Marmite camp here in South Africa, and it's one of those you love it or you hate it kind of things. I am indifferent to Marmite. I don't eat bread or toast anymore because, like Rachel, I do better without gluten. So I don't eat a lot of bread, but when I was pregnant all 3 times, I was extremely sick, extremely sick from beginning to end, no break in between, 9 months of not always vomiting, but being nauseous. It's the worst feeling in the world, like 9 months, every single minute of every single day feeling nauseous is just, ugh. Anyway, one of the few things I craved and I always wanted to eat was toast with Marmite on. I don't know why. I mean, I will eat it happily at other times, but I wanted that. And I suppose the yeast extract in it and all the B vitamins, I mean, it's actually full of some quite good stuff. So it says, when the lights go out this Valentine's Day, rekindle the flame and share the dark with someone special. With a romantic dinner, bubble bath, moonlight massage, spread the love with Marmite. And it's not Marmite, it's a candle. Can you see it there? I know it's really dark, but there's a wick in there. And then I also said on Instagram, it doesn't smell like it's going to be one of those bacon candles. You really light it, it's going to smell like Marmite. I think that might be a bit gross. So I got a Marmite candle for Valentine's Day. And I thought it was actually really clever marketing. My question is, do you like Marmite or Vegemite? You know, which way do you go? I mean, do you even know Marmite? Some places don't get Marmite or Vegemite. Have you tried it? Are you a love it or hate it? And I know that all the Australians are going to go, Marmite's gross, Vegemite is much better. I've tasted both. I like Vegemite too. I just thought it was really fun. And it's always interesting to hear, because people are always quite, you know, have quite strong feelings about Marmite one way or the other. So I think the candle's great, and I am pleased it doesn't smell like Marmite. I'm not sure I could deal, I'm not in the bacon candle camp either, and I'm really not sure I could deal with my candle smelling like like Marmite. So that was just a bit of fun this week. Last time I said I was having problems with pronunciation, so I asked Helen of Sprite 966, who does a podcast as well, if she would help me to pronounce the handspun yarn that Claire got for me. So, she doesn't speak Gaelic as it goes, and had to actually look it up and find a sound clip online somewhere that then told her how to pronounce the yarn. And now I hope I'm going to get it right. How did she say you did it? I think she said it's called snarl. Because the A with the little thingy on it changes the way it's said, and you don't say the TH. So apparently it's snarl. Have I got that right? Have I got that right, Helen? Or anyone else that actually speaks Gaelic? Are we on the right track? Here's my beautiful handspun yarn in these amazing oranges and naturals that Claire got especially for me, which I'm totally in love with. So I hope that we've now said that right. Thank you, Helen, for looking it all up for me, and I'm glad I gave you a bit of a giggle. If you don't watch Helen's podcast, you really should. I enjoy it immensely. She's got a lovely Scottish accent. Sprite 966, and I'll link to that in the show notes. And the other thing I want to tell you about that I got is something a bit special. So we'll have a little new section for that. So M from Electric Carnation has donated some yarn for a giveaway for the group, and I was going to do it for a this mini number member on the group giveaway kind of thing. And actually, I just want to thank everybody now. I actually don't know what the last numbers were, and I just wanted to say such an enormous thank you to everybody that subscribes and excuse me, watches the podcast and interacts with me, and that has been knitting hats for Rachel and washcloths for Rachel's charity. People have just been so really, really kind. I love the interaction. I really love chatting to people and those on Instagram and everything. So I decided to do just a thank you giveaway. It's not specific for any number, but you do need to be a member of the Ravelry group to be eligible to win the prize. So I said to Em that she could do anything she liked for the giveaway. I didn't give her anything. She was just do whatever she wanted to sort of showcase her yarn. So it's called Phlox Variations. And phlox is actually a flower. So I need to read to you what she said about this, because it's quite interesting. She said, right, the giveaway yarn is dyed in a sequence. It doesn't repeat. So it would be better as a shawl or a scarf or wrap, hat, etc. than socks. Unless, of course, it's someone like my middle daughter who wears unmatching socks on purpose. So if you want very matchy socks, don't make socks from this. It's on her Twinkle sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% silver stellina. So it is on a sock base, but she says you might not want to make a sock from it. The first bit is variegated, then it's pink and blue self-stripe, then it's blue, then it's variegated, it's a purple variegated, a variegated and purple variegated self-stripe in the next bit, then it's pink, and then the last bit's variegated again. So it's like, and then she put where's the picture? There was a picture of it as well. So look there. Can you see that? Oh. So it's going to be different the whole way through. It's going to kind of, how cool is that, hey? How cool is that? So this is our prize yarn that is dyed especially for this. It's a as far as I know, non-repeatable colorway. It's just a gift for us to give away. And isn't that fantastic? So you get to win this lovely, unique, specially dyed for us ball of Sokyo. All you need to do is be a member of the Pink Hair Girl group on Ravelry, and just come and say what you enjoy about the podcast, because it's really my thank you to you, and I love to hear what people like and what they enjoy, what they want to see more of on the podcast. So just say me please and what you love about the podcast, and that would be really great. Now she's also got, sorry, I just need to find, she's also got a discount code for, oh, here we go, right. So for, she's got, and I'll link these in the show notes, which is always on my blog, www.pinkhairgirl.co.za. I'll link both her South African Hello Pretty shop and her overseas Etsy shop. And often she quite likes to do custom dyes. So what you'll see up in the shop is often custom dyes. It doesn't always look like there's lots of things there, but contact her because she really likes doing custom dyes for you. And then, you know, like with the St. Patrick's Day or all the other stuff, I just told her what I wanted. Right, so there is a discount code, and it's called Hedgehog Friend. And that's at both the Hello Pretty and the Etsy shop, and that gets you a 15% discount. So I'll put up the codes and let you know. So isn't that nice? So you get a 15% discount from M and Electric Carnation. She's the one that dyed this, and the Monet socks I did, and the pink and orange ones I did, and oh, the monster that I knitted, that colorway is also from there. So yeah, you've seen me knit with quite a lot of her stuff before, and this is hers, is the giveaway yarn, and this will be up in, and I'll put the picture of the longer, what you know, what the ball of yarn looks like inside in the group. So come and join in and stand a chance to win this great giveaway. And it's just my thank you. Thank you for joining the group. Thank you for chatting to me. Erin, whose Ravelry name is, I think it's I Am Erin Joy, and she does the Holland Handmade podcast, asked me a question in the questions for Pinky and the Geek. And I know somebody else asked me a question and wasn't on that thread. I think it was somewhere in the chattering, and I can't find it. I've gone back to look over the past few podcast episodes, and I know there's a question somewhere, and I know that I've missed it. So if you did have a question for me and I haven't answered it, please just pop it into the Ask Pinky and the Geek thread, and then I can keep track of it, and I know, and then I know whether I've answered it or not. Anyway, so the one from I'm Erin Joy was about homeschooling in South Africa. She said, I'd like to know more about homeschooling in South Africa. Is it socially acceptable, or are you swimming upstream? What is your homeschooling approach? Classical unschooling, Charlotte Mason's unit studies. Does Emma get involved in homeschooling at all, or is it just my gig? I have spoken about homeschooling somewhere on the podcast before, but it might have been quite a lot earlier, and I don't really expect people to go and trawl through all the episodes. So homeschooling is quite popular in South Africa. Quite a lot of people homeschool. I wouldn't say that it's totally mainstream. I think that it's not totally swimming upstream, but it's not totally common either. Somewhere in the middle. It's not uncommon. Shall I put it that way? The private schooling is very, very expensive, and state schools, for numerous reasons, there are some very, very good state schools, and our local school is a very good school, but they battle with numbers. There are a lot of children per class, and even in the local government school here, classes can be in the upper 30s, 40s. Number of children in a class, and I just knew that for Rachel that really wouldn't work. We can't afford a private school, and yeah, I didn't think that it would be. I just wanted learning to be fun, And Rachel is a bit like me, easily distracted, finds it hard to sit still and get on with stuff. And I think she would just get lost in a really big class. She is interested in doing things her way much more than, you know, the way she gets told to do it. And I want learning to be fun. I don't think learning at school is always fun. I didn't find it fun, but I enjoy learning. So for me, it's really just to give the children a fun learning experience that they can have a lot of the say in how and what they learn and how they, you know, what they do and all the rest. So I probably am an unschooler. It's so hard to put labels, because as soon as people put labels in, they think it has to, kind of, people want to box you in a certain way. And apparently some of the extreme unschoolers don't think you can call yourself an unschooler unless you don't do anything and the children do everything themselves and you don't follow any kind of curriculum or anything. So I don't think I really like to think of myself as child-led learning, really, more than anything else. We do have a math curriculum. We use Math-U-See for maths. Basically, I feel that they need to have a good grasp of numeracy and literacy. They need to be literate and they need to be able to do math. And for the rest, we follow whatever they're interested in. Children are so innately curious that it doesn't take much to find things that they're interested in, you know. Caleb at the moment is doing a Stampy Longnose project because Stampy's his favorite YouTube gamer to watch, and for his writing and writing practice and drawing and doing little projects, he's doing it on Stampy. So, you know, the content doesn't matter to me, because I think that content is changing so rapidly, and with the information explosion of the internet, I think that children need not so much to know heaps of facts. They need to know where to find information and what is good information, how to critically analyze it, you know, how to critically evaluate what's being, you know, if this is a good source of information or not. And the rest, they just ask enough questions about everything else that it comes into play, you know, clouds and weather and tides, you know, we live at the sea. We just use teachable moments in life to teach everything as we go along. So, and they've got no age limit on what they think they should know at a particular age. You know, they just ask questions, and if I don't know, we Google it and find out. And so, yeah, I'm pretty much an unschooler. I'm pretty much a we'll go with the flow kind of thing. And is the geek involved? Yes, he is. He, especially with maths and stuff, maths is not my strong suit. So he often, especially with Rachel's maths, he often helps her or checks her stuff in the evenings with her. Any questions that they've got about science or space or experiments or all those kind of things, they often talk about science and scientists and space exploration and all of those kind of things around the dinner table. So he takes quite a big role in that. I mean, he's obviously not, you know, he works all day, so he's not here that much. So yeah, they've really got the freedom to do and learn whatever they like. A lot of this week actually has been knitting on Rachel's charity hats. We just fit it in as we go along. You know, when you're teaching 2 children, you don't have the same rush to get everything done as when you're trying to teach a class of, you know, 30 or 40 children. You can much more follow their pace. And you know, Caleb's a boy. He started writing and being interested in that type of thing a lot later, and that's fine. We followed his own pace, and so yeah. So that's what we do. How long we'll do it? For as long as it works, and for as long as the kids want to. If either of them expressed an enormous desire that they desperately wanted to go to school, that's fine. Yeah, that's a little bit about our or you know, homeschooling the kids. Hope that answered your question. If you have another question, or if I haven't answered something that you've asked and you put it up somewhere else, just remind me, just nudge me in the question thread, and I'll try and answer it there. I'll try and remember to answer it there. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely week. I am flying to Pretoria next week, Saturday, so hoping that I will record on Sunday and that it will be up as usual. But yeah, with flying to see my parents, the schedule may be out a little bit. So bear with me if it's a different time, but I will endeavor to record in Pretoria and bring you something. All right, have a great week, everybody. Bye.